When I was poor, everywhere I went, flip the price tag on. What's it cost? What's it cost? What's it cost? What's it cost? I was constantly negotiating the price for everything in my life.
So identity is the governor on our lives. It's the invisible force that no one understands, and once they do understand and get a hold of it, their life can change.
One of the things that human beings underestimate dramatically is their capacity to get great at something if they're totally immersed in it.
When I was poor, everywhere I went, flip the price tag on. What's it cost? What's it cost? What's it cost? What's it cost? I was constantly negotiating the price for everything in my life. You do that when you come from a place of scarcity, of being poor. Successful people and wealthy people have a subtle distinction. They don't look at price, they look at worth. Is this worth it? If you're constantly looking at the price tag, you'll eventually relent. You'll eventually give in. Stop negotiating the price. It's a freeing experience to totally commit. When you totally commit to a relationship, to a business, to your fitness, to your faith, it's a freeing, powerful, it's almost like removing kryptonite from your life when you totally commit. Can you do that? The people around you always talk, it's costing too much. It's costing too much. And you're going, maybe it's costing too much. You gotta start going, no, it's worth it. It's not the price, it's the worth. It's a subtle distinction in your life. Are you with me on that?
So identity is the governor on our lives. It's the invisible force that no one understands, and once they do understand and get a hold of it, their life can change. And so not only if you don't get a hold of this, will these outward conditions of your life keep being exactly the same, but you could behave differently, you could do all the working out, you could be thinking great thoughts, but you are going to get out of your life, you're going to be the most powerful force in the world, I think, is to be consistent with the concepts, ideas, and worth that you hold for yourself. You will get that out of your life, what you will tolerate. Okay, the deeper part of that is identity, and so identity is very much like a thermostat sitting on a wall, right? This is important. Once that temperature is set at a certain degree, everything in the world externally can hit it, and you will find a way to get that temperature. So even in this house, let's say it's set at 80 degrees. If we opened up all the doors and cold air, just the worst things in life, the blizzard of life came in, the thermostat will kick the heater on and it will regulate this room back to 80 degrees. The reverse is also true. It's a super hot day. Great things are happening in your life. It's getting hotter and hotter and hotter. If you're at 80 degrees, that internal thermostat will find a way over a window of time to cool your life right back down to 80 degrees again. So the key, the secret key, is to be able to shift that identity. 90, 100, 120. So some of the ways, strategies to do that are very simple. One is let's just say financially, you're a 200 degreer and I'm an 80 degreer. If I'm in your proximity over and over and over and over again, you will heat my identity up somewhere in between mine and yours to 150 degrees. Same in fitness, same in everything. So the more you can layer in multiple people, the stronger and stronger that force is. So that changes our thermostat through association. It's a huge, 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 huge thing. People say you are who the 5 people you hang around. This is why. They adjust your thermostat. That's number one. Second way you can change your identity is through doing short bursts of something in a window of time you've not done them before, and they change the thermostat temperature permanently, almost like a water line in the pool. So if it's a certain amount in the gym, or a certain amount of phone calls in your business, or a certain amount of appointments, you make a certain amount of money, oftentimes you're never the same again. You've seen this in your own net worth. I've seen it in mine. There became a point where I made a leap in a short window. I was never really the same again. I could go back a little bit, but not back where I was before. So it's activity or successes, achievements in short bursts of time.
Most people's will to win is for sale. It's for sale.
Most people's will
is for sale.
To win, it's for sale.
They can be bought. I can't be bought. So if we give you if we gave you just enough money, if there's a certain dollar amount, you'd stop working hard.
Wow,
we give you a title, you'd stop working hard. We give you a car or a plane or a house.
Dude, that's the book, bro. That's the book.
Is that the book? Yeah, that might be the book.
That is the book. Your will to win is for sale.
That's right. And I decided once I realized that, because I watch it happen with people in their body and their finances and their family and their faith, whatever it is, I'm not for sale. So there isn't a place you're going to buy me. You can't get me. There's not a stop, a place, a destination where you're going to get me to relent, to quit. I want to improve. That doesn't mean I don't struggle with my motivation from time to time. Doesn't mean I don't get confused or down. Of course I do, but I'm not for sale. You can't buy me. And you know this too. We see friends of ours, even guys in their 60s, and they sold their company for blah, 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 and now they golf 9 days a week or whatever, you know? That's fun, but they're for sale. They were bought. You were bought. You were for sale. I'm not for sale.
I remember going,
all the work I put into this, all the hopes my family and I had, all the travel ball, everything we did, all the games, all the great plays, all the errors I made, the fly ball I dropped at Fullerton, all that stuff. I was going to get drafted, then I did all that stuff, right? The guys I played with, over. Like a flicker, man. Like a flicker, that crap was over. And we're on that bus ride back, and I remember thinking, man, I should have tried harder. I should have played harder. I should have given this more. You know that stuff guys do, man. You're running sprints. There's 2 dudes who run every sprint full speed, and then there's the dudes who run 80%, 6 of them. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? He's kind of cool. Doesn't matter. I'm not the fastest guy, so no one will know when I don't win the sprints. You know those guys. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? This is a guy who kind of doesn't really catch the ball on his throwing side in the outfield. When he's worried, catches it over, does everything wrong, throws it back. That's the thing that costs a guy getting thrown out at third and you lose by a run, because you just practice like that. Guy in the bullpen is kind of like not really focused. He's just kind of getting loose, right? Instead of just laser focused on everything he's doing all the time. Right? You don't want to leave here. You don't want it to end, whether it ends in the big leagues, it ends in the minor leagues, it ends here, or you never even get on the field this year. Okay? Having wondered whether you gave it all you got, because it's going to transfer into the man you become when you leave here, and most importantly, it's going to be your identity. When you get tired, when you get fatigued, when you get down, when you're in a slump, it's your habits, rituals, routines, and your standards that carry you through. And if you don't have good habits, you don't have good rituals, you don't have good routines, always in your life you will fall down in bad times, in slumps and fatigue and in stress.
I don't believe in faking it till you make it. You know what entrepreneurialism is, right? It's the greatest self-discovery process in the history of mankind. And you learn more about yourself, what you don't know, your resiliency, how tough you are, what your weaknesses are by being an entrepreneur. It's probably the greatest self-discovery program in the history of the world. It's also this. It's the greatest self-improvement program with the highest compensation package possibly attached to it too. That's what entrepreneurism is, a self-improvement program with massive compensation package attached to it. And that's why too many of you are too focused on growing your company and not focused enough on growing you, because your company will never, ever exceed your identity or your vision for it. You got to grow you, because what will happen when it starts to grow, you'll start making unconscious mistakes to shrink it, making bad calls, getting weak, getting lazy, making mistakes. You're all nodding because you've all done it, because at some point your business got ahead of you. It will never exceed your identity and your vision, because if the company catches your vision, if the company catches your identity, you're dying.
One of the things that human beings underestimate dramatically is their capacity to get great at something if they're totally immersed in it. Totally laser focused on something. But as I've coached the very high-end athletes in my life, the top business people and entertainers, I can tell you that most people underestimate what total obsessive laser focused really is and what it looks like, because you are way more powerful than you know you are if you went crazy, psycho, obsessed, laser focused on anything, even something you're totally ill-prepared for. Humans have an unreal capacity to get great at things, even if they don't have a natural talent for it, if they're immersed in it, and to learn something and acquire a ton of knowledge in a short period of time as well. I'll give you an example of that. Unfortunately, right now, many of you know that my dad has cancer. He has a type of cancer called liposarcoma. 3 years ago, I had no idea what that word even meant. I had never heard that word uttered in my life, liposarcoma. And maybe you've had this experience before too, if a family member's come up with diabetes or a heart issue or any type of health issue even for yourself. You're not a doctor, probably most of you listening to this, but you've become pretty knowledgeable, haven't you, about some area of your life, whether that's something you've studied in school or a career you've chosen you didn't think you'd choose, or like in my case, there was an illness for my dad. I consider myself pretty damn close to an expert on that topic now. I've read so many books, I've studied, I've Googled, I've read research, I've read about the different chemos, alternative treatments, I've read about eating green. I mean, you name it, right? Like, I've gone crazy on that topic. And again, I'm not an oncologist, but I went from knowing absolutely nothing to 3 years later having an immense amount of knowledge. It's probably one of the 10 things I know most about in my life right now. And so that's because I got obsessed with it. Can you do that with where your goals and dreams are? Like, really, can you do it? Because the truth of the matter is, in society today, society is conspiring all the time in our culture to completely distract you so you never win. To just divert your focus and attention. Look over here, look at this shiny thing, look at this TV show, look at this sports team. Worry about what's going on here in this war. And they get these different things on television and our phones and in our lives to just get us distracted so we never get obsessed. We never get laser focused for an extended period of time.
Hey guys, thanks for sticking around. If you'd like more, click the videos right here. They're exactly what you need to see next. And if you're new here, hit subscribe and become a part of the Max Out community. And tell me what you think about the videos in the comments below. I read all of them every week, and I select winners that get all kinds of prizes, gear, coaching calls with me. Make a comment.